Have you ever found yourself apologizing for who you are, for your choices, or for what you stand for? In a world that constantly demands compromise and conformity, it's easy to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. Like a tree bending in the wind, trying to survive by changing its shape. But what if I told you that some things are non-negotiable? Some aspects of your life, your beliefs, and your choices should never require an apology. These are the roots that hold you steady, no matter how strong the storm. Stoic philosophy teaches us the power of living authentically, aligned with our values and without fear of judgment. In a world that pressures us to fit in, true peace comes from embracing who we are. It's like standing firm on solid ground while the world spins around you. Let's explore 8 things you should never apologize for, because these are the moments that define you and lead to true fulfillment. But before we dive in, pay attention to this story, which will help you better understand the wisdom in this material. There was once a man named Elias, who lived in a small village nestled in the hills. Known for his quiet nature and strong moral compass, he was the kind of person who always did what was right, even if it wasn't popular. He spent most of his days working on his farm, helping his neighbors, and living by the principles that guided him: integrity, kindness, and the courage to follow his own path. One day, a traveler arrived in the village. He was a charismatic man, full of stories of distant lands, grand adventures, and worldly knowledge. As he spoke, the villagers were captivated by his charm, but as Elias listened, something didn't sit right with him. The traveler began to convince the villagers that they should sell their land to a wealthy merchant who wanted to build a grand city on their soil. He spoke of riches and new opportunities, promising that they would all be better off in the long run. Elias was quiet at first, but as the days passed, he grew increasingly uneasy with what he was hearing. His land, the one he had worked on for years, was more than just soil to him. It was a part of who he was, a reflection of his life's work and the values he held dear. He didn't want to sell it for promises of wealth and prosperity. But the more the traveler spoke, the more the villagers began to question their choices. They asked Elias why he didn't want to join them, why he wasn't swayed by the traveler's words. The pressure began to mount. One by one, the villagers, who had once admired Elias for his steadfastness, began to doubt him. "Why are you so stubborn, Elias?" they asked. "Why won't you open your mind to new possibilities? Everyone else is considering it, so why not you?" Elias felt the weight of their words, but he refused to compromise on what he knew was right. That night, as he lay in bed, he thought long and hard. He knew that in the eyes of the world, his decision might seem foolish. He might be seen as the one who refused to change, the one who held on to something that didn't seem profitable. He thought about apologizing, about just going along with the crowd to keep the peace. But as the moonlight streamed through his window, he realized something. I should never apologize for being true to myself. The next day, Elias stood in front of the village, looking out at the land he had worked so hard to cultivate. With a calm but unwavering voice, he addressed the villagers. "I don't ask you to agree with me," he said, "but I will not apologize for valuing what I've built here. I will not apologize for the love I have for my land, my roots, and my values. I'm not afraid of being different, and I'm not afraid of standing alone if it means living a life true to myself." The traveler, seeing that his influence had waned, packed his bags and left. The villagers, though some still felt doubt, began to respect Elias even more. They realized that he had stayed true to himself, something that many of them couldn't say. Elias had taught them an invaluable lesson that day. You should never apologize for staying true to your values, your dreams, or your life's work. Years later, when the village faced hardships and many of the other lands were sold to the merchant, Elias's farm flourished. He had created a legacy, not just in the soil he tilled, but in the hearts of those who had learned the importance of living authentically. And Elias knew that while he had not followed the crowd, he had followed something far more important, his own path. As the sun set behind the hills, casting long shadows over the land, Elias stood tall, knowing he had made the right choice. He had never apologized for being himself, and that, above all, was the true measure of a life well lived. The moral of this story is that standing true to yourself, even when it's difficult, is never something to apologize for. Protecting your values, time, and peace of mind is an act of self-respect, and it's what ultimately allows you to live a fulfilling life. Never let fear or external pressure convince you to compromise on what matters most. Before we begin with the first lesson, if you find these videos helpful, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on the latest content. Let's begin. Number 1. Saying no to things that drain you. Imagine your energy as a pitcher of water, and every commitment you make pours a little out. What happens when you say yes to everything? Your pitcher runs dry, leaving nothing for yourself. Saying no isn't selfish. It's like plugging the holes in a leaky bucket, preserving your energy for the things that truly matter. Think of your energy like the fuel in a car. If you drive around aimlessly, stopping wherever someone asks, you'll eventually find yourself stranded with an empty tank. The truth is, every yes you give to something that drains you is a no to something that fulfills you. It's like trading gold for dust, valuable time and energy for things that don't nourish your soul. Stoicism teaches us to guard our time and energy fiercely. As Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Yet in our quest to be everything for everyone, we often find ourselves saying yes to things that deplete us, whether it's a project we don't care about, a social event we'd rather skip, or helping someone who takes advantage of our kindness. Learning to say no is an act of self-respect. Picture a tree shedding its leaves in autumn. It's not giving up. It's conserving energy to survive the winter and bloom stronger in the spring. Saying no is your way of shedding what doesn't serve you so you can grow in ways that truly matter. For example, saying no to extra work that doesn't align with your goals allows you to invest that time in something more meaningful. Whether it's pursuing a passion, spending time with loved ones, or simply resting. But why is saying no so hard? Often it's guilt. We worry that rejecting others will make us appear selfish or unkind. Here's the reality. Saying no doesn't make you a villain. It makes you honest. You're not a vending machine dispensing whatever others want. You're a person with limits, and respecting those limits is essential for your well-being. So, how do you master the art of no? Start by identifying what truly matters to you. Think of your priorities as the walls of a fortress. Anything that doesn't align with them doesn't get inside. Practice saying no firmly but kindly. Instead of over-explaining, simply say, "I can't commit to this right now." It's a complete sentence, and it's enough. Remember, every time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to yourself. You're preserving your energy, time, and peace of mind. As the Stoics remind us, your life is yours to steer. Don't let it be hijacked by endless obligations that don't serve your purpose. Saying no isn't about shutting people out. It's about letting yourself in. Be like a river, flowing toward what nourishes you, and let the distractions wash away. The next time you feel guilty for saying no, picture this. You're not closing a door. You're opening a gate to a life that aligns with your values. Protect your energy, because when you do, you create the space to live fully, authentically, and unapologetically. Number 2, being true to your values. Have you ever felt like a lighthouse in a raging storm, standing firm as the waves crash against you? That's what it feels like to stay true to your values in a world that constantly pushes you to drift away. Your values are like the foundation of that lighthouse, unshakable and essential. Apologizing for them is like chiseling away at your base, risking everything that keeps you upright and steady. Stoicism teaches us that our values are our compass, the North Star guiding us through life's uncertainties. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be one." Yet society often acts like a strong wind, pressuring you to shift direction, bend or break. Whether it's about choosing an unconventional career path, saying no to unethical behavior, or standing up for your beliefs, you should never apologize for protecting the essence of who you are. Think of your values as a garden you've cultivated with care. Each principle you live by is a flower you've grown. When you compromise, it's like uprooting those flowers, leaving bare soil behind. Sure, others might throw their weeds into your garden and tell you they're just as good, but deep down, you know the difference. Staying true to your values means nurturing your own growth, even when others don't understand or appreciate it. Here's the thing, standing firm doesn't mean being inflexible like a brittle branch. Instead, it's about being like bamboo, strong, rooted, yet able to sway without snapping. Take the example of someone who refuses to engage in office gossip, even when everyone else is doing it. They may seem out of place, like a lone tree in a desert, but their decision to remain upright in their integrity is what sets them apart. And in time, people often look up to that kind of quiet strength. So why do we feel the need to apologize for our values? The answer lies in fear. Fear of being the odd one out, of being judged or misunderstood. But here's a truth to remember. You're not a leaf blowing in someone else's wind. You're the tree that chooses which direction to grow. Not everyone will understand your path, but their misunderstanding is their limitation, not yours. To remain unapologetic, first, define your values. Think of them as the keel of a ship, what steadies you when the seas get rough. Surround yourself with people who act like anchors, grounding you when storms try to pull you away. And remind yourself that living authentically isn't about being perfect. It's about staying aligned with what matters most to you. The next time someone questions your values, picture this. You are the sun, steady and radiant, and their judgment is just passing clouds. Don't dim your light for the temporary shadows they cast. As the Stoics remind us, a life lived in harmony with virtue is the ultimate triumph. Never apologize for being true to yourself, because that is the greatest gift you can give to the world and to yourself. If you've watched the video this far, make sure to comment "Thank God" to let us know you're with us. Number 3, taking time for yourself. Picture this. You're a candle burning at both ends, lighting the way for everyone else, but slowly melting into nothingness. Does that sound familiar? Taking time for yourself is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's how you replenish your energy, nurture your mind, and remind yourself that you matter too. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of reflection and solitude. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, often retreated into his own thoughts despite ruling an empire. He wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." If the busiest man of his time could make space for himself, what excuse do we have? Think of your time and energy as a garden. Without care, weeds of exhaustion, stress, and resentment take over. Taking time for yourself is like tending to that garden, pulling out the weeds, planting seeds of rest and joy, and allowing your mind to bloom. Whether it's a morning walk, journaling, or simply sitting in silence with a cup of tea, these moments aren't indulgent, they're vital. But here's the problem. We live in a world that glorifies busyness. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor, as if running on empty is something to be proud of. In reality, it's like trying to drive a car without fuel. You won't get far before breaking down. Taking time for yourself is how you refuel. It's a way of telling yourself, I deserve care too. Why do we struggle with this? Guilt often plays a big role. We feel selfish for stepping away, worried that others will see it as neglect or laziness. But here's the truth. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you prioritize yourself, you're better equipped to show up for others with genuine energy and presence. It's not selfish, it's self-sustaining. So, how do you make time for yourself? Start small. Treat it like a meeting with your most important client, because that's exactly what it is. Schedule blocks of time where you do something that brings you joy or peace, and guard that time fiercely. Say no to interruptions, whether they come from others or your own distractions. Think of it like sharpening an axe. A dull blade requires more effort and yields worse results. Taking time for yourself is how you sharpen your mind, body, and spirit. You come back stronger, clearer, and ready to face life's challenges. The next time you hesitate to take a break, think of this. You're not abandoning your responsibilities. You're ensuring you have the strength to carry them. Be like a river that flows effortlessly because it takes time to gather its strength. In giving yourself time, you're honoring your worth, your energy, and your humanity. Remember, even the most radiant sun takes time to set, rest, and rise again. You, too, deserve moments of rest to rise brighter tomorrow. Never apologize for taking time for yourself. It's not just a gift to you, but to everyone you care for. If you've enjoyed the video so far, please make sure to like it. It'll take you less than 2 seconds and it'll put a big smile on my face. Number 4, outgrowing people who hold you back. Have you ever felt like you're trying to soar, but something or someone is holding you down like an anchor tied to your wings? Outgrowing people who hold you back isn't a betrayal. It's a necessary step in your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. Stoicism reminds us that we are the average of the choices we make and the people we surround ourselves with. As Seneca said, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Yet we often cling to relationships out of guilt, nostalgia, or fear of being alone, even when they drain our energy or stunt our growth. Think of your life as a garden. Some relationships are like flowers, nourishing your soul and helping you bloom. Others are like weeds, choking your growth and stealing the nutrients you need to thrive. Outgrowing someone isn't about being cruel or judgmental. It's about recognizing when a connection no longer aligns with the person you're becoming. Why is it so hard to let go? For many, it's loyalty. You remember the good times and convince yourself you owe them your presence, even at the cost of your own progress. But loyalty should never come at the expense of your peace or potential. Staying in a toxic or stagnant relationship is like keeping a bird in a cage. It may feel safe, but it's not free to fly. Outgrowing people doesn't mean you wish them ill or forget their role in your life. It simply means acknowledging that their chapter in your story has come to an end. Growth is a journey, and not everyone is meant to walk every step with you. So, how do you handle this with grace? Start by evaluating your relationships. Do they inspire you, challenge you to grow, and bring joy to your life? Or do they drain your energy, discourage your dreams, and leave you feeling stuck? Once you identify the relationships that hold you back, set boundaries. You don't need to cut people off abruptly, but you do need to protect your time, energy, and well-being. Remember, you're not abandoning them. You're choosing yourself. And choosing yourself is an act of courage, not selfishness. By letting go of relationships that no longer serve you, you create space for new ones that uplift and align with your journey. The next time you feel guilty about outgrowing someone, think of this. You're not a tree rooted in one spot forever. You're a river, flowing toward greater horizons. Some people will flow with you, and others won't, and that's okay. Growth often requires difficult choices, but those choices pave the way for a life filled with purpose, peace, and progress. Never apologize for outgrowing what no longer helps you grow. Number 5, Walking away from toxic relationships. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a relationship that leaves you drained, frustrated, and questioning your self-worth? Walking away from toxic relationships isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of strength and self-preservation. The hardest part? Realizing that the best way to protect your peace is to let go. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond. As Marcus Aurelius said, choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. But how can you remain unaffected when someone you care about consistently brings negativity, manipulation, or harm into your life? The answer: by understanding that your peace is more important than anyone else's chaos. Think of your life as a garden and your relationships as the plants within it. Some relationships are like flowers, nourishing, uplifting, and beautiful to watch grow. Others are like weeds, choking the life out of your garden, stealing the nutrients, and preventing the flowers from thriving. Walking away from toxic relationships is like pulling out the weeds. It doesn't mean you hate the plant, but you recognize that it's doing more harm than good. So why do we stay in toxic relationships? Often, it's fear. Fear of being alone, fear of confrontation, or the belief that we can somehow change the other person. But here's the hard truth. People only change if they want to. You cannot fix someone who is not willing to change, no matter how much love, patience, or effort you put in. Walking away doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care more about your well-being, your peace of mind, and your happiness. It's about setting boundaries that protect your mental and emotional health. It's about knowing when to step back, even if that means leaving someone behind. So how do you walk away from a toxic relationship? First, recognize the signs. Do you feel emotionally drained after spending time with this person? Do they belittle, manipulate, or criticize you? If the answer is yes, then it's time to re-evaluate the relationship. Second, give yourself permission to walk away. You don't need to explain or justify your decision to anyone. Your well-being is enough of a reason. Remember, walking away is an act of self-respect, not selfishness. You are not abandoning the other person. You are choosing to stop abandoning yourself. By letting go of toxic relationships, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections that uplift and support you. The next time you feel the weight of a toxic relationship, think of this. You are not a tree stuck in the soil because you have no other option. You are the river, capable of changing direction and flowing towards something better. Never apologize for walking away from relationships that harm you. Your peace, happiness, and emotional health are worth more than the comfort of staying in a situation that continually drags you down. Remember, sometimes walking away isn't giving up. It's simply walking towards something better. Number 6, pursuing your dreams. Have you ever felt like your dreams are just beyond your reach, waiting for the right moment, the right resources, or the right person to help you make them a reality? What if I told you that the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the decision to pursue them, despite the fear, uncertainty, and obstacles that lie ahead? Pursuing your dreams isn't just about achieving goals. It's about embracing the courage to chase after what truly sets your soul on fire. Stoicism teaches us that the path to fulfillment isn't always straightforward, but it's one we must walk with purpose. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And the most powerful reaction to life's challenges is to continue pushing forward, relentlessly pursuing the dreams that make you feel alive. Think of your dreams as the stars in the sky, always shining, always guiding you. The journey to reach them may seem impossible at times, but remember, the stars remain constant, offering you direction. The challenges you face along the way are like clouds that obscure your view, but they never have the power to extinguish the stars. Only you can decide whether to keep chasing them or allow those clouds to stop you in your tracks. So why do we hesitate to pursue our dreams? Often, it's fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of stepping into the unknown. It's easy to stay in the comfort zone of what's familiar, even if it's not fulfilling. But here's a hard truth. The comfort zone is a prison that keeps you locked away from the life you were meant to live. And the only key to that prison is action. Pursuing your dreams requires you to let go of the need for external validation. Your dreams are yours alone, and they don't need permission to exist. Just like a plant needs to grow in its own soil, your dreams need space to blossom in your life. The opinions of others, the doubts you carry, or the obstacles you face can't stop you unless you let them. So how do you begin? Start by setting clear, realistic goals for your dreams. Break them down into smaller, manageable steps. Progress may be slow at first, but every step you take brings you closer to that star you're chasing. Surround yourself with people who believe in your potential and cut out the voices of doubt that hold you back. Remember, the path won't always be easy. You'll encounter setbacks, rejection, and moments of doubt. But every great success story is built on a foundation of perseverance. As the Stoics remind us, obstacles are not roadblocks. They are opportunities for growth. The next time you feel discouraged or unsure, think of this. Your dreams are not just about the destination. They are about the journey of becoming the person you were meant to be. You are the creator of your own story, and it's never too late to start writing. Never apologize for pursuing your dreams. It's not a selfish act, it's the most authentic expression of who you are. Your dreams are waiting for you. The question is, are you ready to pursue them with everything you've got? Number 7, prioritizing your mental health. Have you ever felt like life is a never-ending treadmill, where no matter how fast you run, you can't keep up? In the hustle to meet deadlines, fulfill expectations, and care for others, how often do you pause and ask yourself, how am I really doing? Prioritizing your mental health isn't a sign of weakness. It's the foundation of a strong, meaningful life. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control the events around us, we can control how we respond to them. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. But how can you react calmly and rationally when your mind is overwhelmed, exhausted, or burdened with unresolved emotions? Taking care of your mental health is not optional. It's the key to living with clarity, resilience, and purpose. Think of your mental health as a glass vase. Every stressor is like a small crack. Left unaddressed, those cracks multiply until the vase shatters under the weight of the smallest thing. Prioritizing your mental health is how you mend those cracks before they grow, keeping yourself whole and capable of withstanding life's pressures. Yet many of us feel guilty for focusing on our mental well-being as if it's selfish or unimportant. We push ourselves to the brink, thinking we'll be admired for our endurance. But let me ask you this. If your mind were a plant, would you expect it to thrive without water, sunlight, or care? Your mental health is no different. It needs attention, nourishment, and rest to flourish. How can you start prioritizing your mental health? First, listen to yourself. When was the last time you sat in silence and truly reflected on your feelings? Journaling, meditating, or even speaking with a trusted friend can help you untangle the knots in your mind. Second, learn to set boundaries. Saying no to things that drain you and yes to what nurtures you is an act of self-respect. Finally, don't hesitate to seek professional help if you need it. Just as you'd see a doctor for a persistent cough, a therapist can guide you through mental struggles. Remember, there's no shame in taking steps toward a healthier mind. It's an act of courage. The next time you feel guilty for prioritizing your mental health, imagine this. You're a bridge supporting countless people and responsibilities. If you don't maintain that bridge, it will collapse, taking everything with it. By taking care of your mind, you're ensuring that you can continue to carry the weight of life with strength and grace. So take a moment today to check in with yourself. Your mental health is not a luxury, it's the anchor that keeps you steady in life's storm. Don't ever apologize for putting it first. If any of the points resonated with you, be sure to comment, "Thank God I learned it," to share your thoughts and let us know how it connected.